This is Dan from Bible Prophecy and Truth, and I'm the author of this website. Why do I do what I do? Because when I first became a Christian, I started studying Bible prophecy, and I was literally mind blown. I discovered that everything God told us was going to happen is happening right now, and I just had to share that with others. So that's why I do what I do. It's not about money. I give my money from my full-time job in order to reach you. And I do it because I love God, and I do it because I love you, and I want you to know the truth. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Few means few. Jesus said, many are called and few are chosen, and it's like so few. There's so many people out there that are liars and deceivers, and they've got thousands and hundred millions of followers, and they're teaching lies. I hate the devil, and I hate the children of the devil. It's like we know how entrenched Satan is with his lies and his control in our governments, but we don't realize that he's just as entrenched and in control of our churches.
Is hello. Welcome back, everybody. Yes, she's gone. She is working. She's working later, so we'll just go ahead and have a Bible study without her. She can always watch later, I guess.
I know, we'll miss her.
Yeah, we miss her when she's not here. I hope everybody's doing good so far this week, but I do want to tell you, please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, share the video on all your places, and go to Rumble. I never watch on Rumble. Go to Rumble and please follow us on Rumble, and then turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any great uploads. And make sure that you check out the banner that is running at the bottom of the screen, because I've gotten a lot of likes and followers on Godly Woman, Godly Wife. So that's a good thing.
It's a very good thing.
Yeah. And make sure you ask questions. Don't forget, if you have any questions, you can email, you can leave a comment.
Yeah.
So I guess we're just going to get into it.
Okay.
So let's get started.
So welcome, everyone. My name's Dan. I'm the author of BibleProphecyandTruth.com. This is my wife, Colleen, who is co-hosting with me and chat moderating. And we usually have our sister Diane with us, but she had to work late today, and she's not been feeling so well. So pray for her if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And we will see her back on Sunday, I'm sure.
We're so chipper. You know, the chipper. Two of the most chippery people I've ever known.
Well, we're trying to be chipper.
No, everything is okay. We just don't have her. I know.
So I forgot to bring up my little document, but let me bring it up.
Please don't go away.
I know, it's like,
please don't drop off.
Why are you not talking? So
no, please.
Today we're going to talk about the news as usual and how it relates to biblical prophecy. And then we're going to get into part 6 of our study on the book of Revelation. And we're going to talk about the 7 trumpets, which is a very cool, very interesting study, to say the least.
It's my favorite.
So if you're new to the channel, we always talk about when is the end of the world, because literally all of the signs that Jesus gave that would herald his coming are coming to pass right now. One of which is earthquakes. I know we talked about the 7.7. Everybody knows about that pretty much. There was a 6.7 and a 7.7 at that very, very close to that same time. In case you didn't know, there is another. There's another one in Japan. Now, we've been seeing a lot of earthquakes in Japan. A 6.2 that just hit today.
I know. Why Japan? It's like that's just that little hot spot.
Yeah. And then we've got some more stuff. Tonga. We've got the Atlantic Ridge. We had a 6.6 here in between Africa and South America.
And look at that little hot spot right there in North America.
I know. And this is just the last 7 days, right? This is 1,883 earthquakes in the last 7 days. But I mean, look at all, we got massive 6.0 and greater and a couple of 7 and greater. This is, I mean, we're seriously looking at, I don't know if we're going to see something more than we did in 2020, but in 2020, we saw 200,000 earthquakes worldwide, which is just absolutely insane. Last year, we had over 120,000. We're definitely on track for over 100,000 again this year. And we're definitely on track for 6.0 and greater spiking this year, big time. We've already had quite a few 7s, a lot of 6 pluses. So we're definitely on the road to that happening. We're watching things escalate. We had, there's so many things that are happening, the signs that Jesus gave. Earthquakes is just one of them. And signs in the heavens, which includes the atmosphere and weather storms and things like that. And, we've got storms escalating, frequency and strength of storms have escalated over the last few decades. Natural disasters all over the place, wars and rumors of wars. Wow, false Christ. There's so many people, claiming to be Jesus Christ. And some of them are alive today. There's people alive right now claiming to be Jesus Christ. And they've got large followings. It's absolutely mind-blowing. False prophets. There's so many false prophets today. Love waxing cold. I mean, just all of the signs that Jesus gave. So, and why does this relate to Revelation? Because, well, the end of the world is the time of the coming of the Lord. That's what the disciples asked him, what would be the sign of his coming and the end of the world? So we're there. And that's what the book of Revelation is, if you remember. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared today. I didn't even have my Bible app open. But if you remember the revelation of Jesus Christ, and I'm going to point this out every time we have this revelation study, because it's really so important that we all understand this. The apocalypse that everybody's shouting about is not an apocalypse. It's not 7 years of Armageddon. It's not some ridiculous catastrophe happening to the world. An apocalypse is a disclosure. It's a revealing, a coming manifestation. The revelation of Jesus Christ is the apocalypse of Jesus Christ. And we need to understand that, because there's so many false teachers out there claiming there's some apocalypse coming. Well, yes, the coming of the Lord.
Yeah, they just don't realize.
And they use that word as if it means some kind of catastrophe. It's not. It's the coming of the Lord. And we talked about the seals, which if the seals are a parallel to Zechariah 6, which I believe they are, they're spirits that are in the world, that have been in the world for a long time. It's not some catastrophic thing happening. But now, when we look at the 7 trumpets, there's some catastrophe. So we're going to be looking at that. But let's look at the news today first and what's happened over the last couple of days. One of the things that we've looked at is this big Sharia enclave that they're planning to put in Texas. And it's going to be an autonomous, self-governing area of Texas. Like the United States government, the Texas government has no right to be in there, according to the Muslims. It's going to be there. And like, how do you have the right to do that? Nobody has the right to do that in this country.
Are they just claiming freedom of religion? And maybe that's what they're going to use. And that's why nobody's trying to.
But you can't say I'm outside the laws of the country when you want to live in the country. You still have to abide by the laws of the land. And that's what everybody's really screaming about this. And, here's the leader, declaring war on Texans who dare resist Islamization, right? I mean, it's so ridiculous what's going on. I really hope that Texas stops that from happening. We already have a Sharia enclave in Minnesota. We have one in Michigan. We don't need another one in Texas. We need to get the Muslims out, seriously, because if you understand Islam, it's not a religion of peace. It's a religion of conquest, and Islam supports slavery. They currently have slaves right now today. Islam has slaves. They support pedophilia, rape. Any woman that's not a Muslim is free to be raped by any Muslim man. I mean, there's so many things about Islam that just, if you don't understand it, please do the research, because it's ridiculous what people are pretending Islam is today. This is a little short video that I'm going to play for you. This kid has it spot on.
Is that a boy or a girl?
It's a boy. He's spot on about what happened in the area of the world that's been called Palestine, which is the area of Israel. I'm going to play this for you. It's really good. Like I said, he's absolutely 100% spot on. So listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me actually turn the sound on. All right. There we go.
When we get taught about the Nakba in school, we're usually taught that the Jews came to Palestine because they were being wiped out in Europe, and then they came to Palestine and they began killing and displacing the Palestinians. But this is not true. What actually happened was that the Arab armies told the Palestinians in 1948 to vacate their homes so that they could come in and drive the Jews out of the land from the river to the sea. And that when their genocidal mission failed, the Palestinians basically became refugees. However, we're also not told that 150,000 Palestinians refused to follow these orders. And they became Israeli citizens, and today they make up 2 million with their children and grandchildren. But we're not taught about this in school, which is how you know that we've basically been taught propaganda. Which makes sense when you think about the fact that top American universities have received $21 billion in funding from Qatar since 1986. We're always told that 700,000 Palestinians were displaced out of their homes by the Israeli army. But we're never taught that they actually did that willingly, following the orders of the Arab armies. In essence, the Palestinian refugee crisis is a crisis that was caused by a failed genocidal promise to kill Jews. This is how history is manipulated and distorted to make you believe something that's not true, so that you will pick a narrative that is false but has a hidden agenda to kill Jews.
He has great hair.
Well, I did notice his hair.
He has
I don't
great
think you
hair.
cannot notice, but he is so spot on. I mean, that's exactly what happened. The Arabs told the people, the Arab countries around the area told the Arabs living there to leave. So they were promising
Yeah.
to wipe out the Jews,
Mhm.
and then they could come back. Well, they never were able to wipe out the Jews. So of course they weren't able to come back as they were promised. And that's, everything he said is absolutely true. We had a guy, remember just recently, we showed you a video of an Arab Israeli whose family
Yeah.
has been there for generations.
Mhm.
His grandfather's grandfather, lived there before the war. And he talks about how it was all, the only reason to leave was, like this gentleman said, they were told to leave by the other Arab countries. But they stayed. And the only thing you had to do to stay was just stay. And they became Israeli citizens, and they're living in peace with Israel. They're Israeli Arabs. It's such, everything is a lie. Everything is propaganda. It's just
Almost, well, 250,000 views. Almost.
on that video.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Mm-hmm.
so.
That's good.
Just another thing to show what I've been talking about for a while now. I got a warning here on this. There's language not in the video, but I blocked out this word here on the text on the video. I'm going to play this real quick, just because this is so true too. This is a Jewish hostage that was released on 60 Minutes. And that this woman interviewing him, he was talking about how they starved him. She looks him right in the eye and says, well, maybe they didn't have food. But then he points out, I'll let you watch it. He points out how they ate in front of him and starved him. It's so pathetic what it is the propaganda that they're, this woman, sorry, let me,
Leslie Stahl.
Turn this down, it's ridiculous. And she interviewed several, and she talks everything coming out of her mouth. She acts like she's so concerned, and I was, when you first see it, it's like, does she really believe that, or is she just pushing an agenda? No, she doesn't really believe that. She's pushing their lies purposefully. Mm-hmm. So listen to this.
The terrorists became very mean and very cruel and violent.
More so.
Much more so. They were beating me and starving me.
Do you think they starved you, or they just didn't have food?
No, I think they starved me, and they would often eat in front of me.
So for some reason, that just locked up.
We're not locked up. They locked up.
Yeah, for some reason that just crashed big time. Let me see if I can get it back, because I wanted you to see her face when she asks him that question.
Became very mean and very cruel and violent.
More so.
Much more so. They were beating me and starving me.
Do you think they starved you, or they just didn't have food?
No, I think they starved me, and they would often eat in front of me and not offer me food. The terrorists became very mean.
Yeah, that's so.
Are you sure that it was as bad as you think it is?
I know.
Like,
here's
that's
a man
what
that
she's saying to him.
He was beaten daily
for over a year.
They would eat in front of him and mock him, and she's like, "Oh,
maybe they didn't have food."
But is it really their fault? That is just so. If there's anything that makes me angry with all of these people, is that kind of stuff. That just irks me to no end. So, yeah. So, in case you heard about the illegal that was deported in error, the Atlantic News posted a thing that this guy that was deported was just some family man that was accidentally deported. Well, Leavitt actually gave us Leavitt actually gave us the truth. Ben Shapiro talked about it as well. You know, he's an MS-13 leader, child trafficking. I mean, they have all the evidence from this guy. This is not some family man. This is a guy that's been here for a very long time as an MS-13 leader doing child trafficking and who knows what else, right? This is a horrible, vicious, evil man.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to make, oh, he was just this family man and they deported him.
Well, they're always going to do that.
So in case you didn't hear that already, now you know the truth. There's a video that she put out where she talks about that, and it was one of the it was at a press conference. You can look it up.
You
and
know,
listen to her.
she's just as good as Kaylee McEnany, but she is feistier.
Yeah,
she's got more fire.
I like
than
her
Kaylee does.
Yeah.
Kaylee was sweet, very smart.
Yeah,
but she's fiery.
Yeah, I like her.
Yeah, I really like her.
So, in case you didn't know what's going on over there,
oh my goodness,
Erdogan's really, really picking up this violent rhetoric, big time, pushing all of this. He's they're a NATO member, Turkey, and here he's saying, "May Allah destroy Israel." He's calling for violence. This is. I know that Iran is the catalyst, but Erdogan is, Turkey is.
It's like
we got to keep our eye on him.
It's like they're egging him on.
Yeah, and
Iran.
Turkey is now aligning with Syria and the new jihadi leader there.
You don't think that he could be the Antichrist, right? Erdogan?
He doesn't really fit the profile.
Okay.
But I know that a lot of people think that he might be, but if you look at who the Antichrist is in the Bible and everything about him, he doesn't really fit so well.
I know what the Bible says about him, but I don't know what he personally, if he fits that description. What I mean? Erdogan.
Yeah. Do you think he thinks so, or do you think?
No, I was just asking, I know more about what the Bible says than I do about him personally. Oh, yeah. So I wanted to ask. Well,
he definitely
fits
has
that description.
A personality to be the Antichrist. No doubt about that. But he just, that all of the things that the Bible tells us about the Antichrist,
he doesn't fit it.
He doesn't. Right? He doesn't fit so well. No.
Okay.
Yeah. And we did a live stream on that not too long ago. But there is a document for anyone who's new. Let me just show you. If you go to BibleProphecyandTruth.com, go to the notes menu and go to the newsletters archive here. And then you can either use this drop down list, but I prefer to click on this list and have a flat list. There's a newsletter I did just a little while ago on how can we identify the Antichrist. Check that out for sure. There's also a video that I did, a companion video as well.
It's Erdogan is how you pronounce his.
Erdogan?
We say Erdogan, but it's Erdogan. That's how they
that's how
pronounce
we say
it. Yeah. You know how I'm the pronunciation police.
You're the pronunciation police big time.
I know.
And then, Trump, I really think, Trump has been talking about, continuing with the Abraham Accords. He's really trying to get the Arab nations involved.
Yes, he is.
In this, what's going on between Israel and Palestine, right? There is no such thing as Palestine, but it's that area of Gaza, right? That is where the Arab Muslims live. And as well as in Judea and Samaria. So they've been trying to, remember we talked about this a lot in the last couple of weeks. They don't want the death and the fighting and the chaos and the conflict to end there. They like that to stay there because that gives them leverage in the area. And
I don't think everybody wants peace, but at some point they are going to sign this peace treaty. And if it's not because they really want it, why are they? What would be their reasoning?
There's going to be
it?
some reason for it that we don't know at this point. Why will they sign?
Yeah.
And it might be, we know that the Mahdi, the biblical Antichrist in Daniel chapter 9, is going to be one of many who signs that peace treaty. So,
Right.
There's going to be Arabs that are talking other Arabs into doing this. There's going to be some political gain or some monetary gain or something that'll cause them to do it.
Yeah.
And here's one thing too that I'd like to point out. Chapter 7, Revelation 17, verse 17. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. So when we talk about why they'll sign,
Because God,
God's gonna cause them to desire to do so.
I know. And so my original question was like, what is it that they believe that they're doing it for? So I guess we'll have to wait and see that.
Yeah, because the Mahdi won't actually have risen yet, so it won't be for him.
Right.
It'll be for some other reason. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just curious on what they say.
Yeah. I'm curious.
Like,
too.
we're going to do it, or are they just going to walk into this building, sign, and leave?
Why
I don't
they all
believe
think
that.
they're doing it.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to me. Because I know that God puts it in their heart. What I'm saying is,
but why are they rationalizing?
Right. That I'm going to enjoy watching.
That will be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, Iran is definitely not going away. Khomeini is threatening a strong blow against Israel and the U.S. if Trump bombs Iran, because Trump has said they're going to be bombed like they've never been bombed before if they want. But here they're saying if if the U.S. attacks us, we're going to be forced to produce a nuclear weapon. So they're going to use that as the excuse. Well, you made us make a bomb.
Yeah. It's your fault.
It's like, what do all the evil people always do? They always try to blame you for the evil that they're doing. It's crazy. But this, Iran doesn't have any strong blow to make, really, but they're threatening, which they always do. Now, if they do manage to get a bomb, we know what they're going to do with it. They're going to do what they've always said they're going to do, and blow up Israel. They're going to try. Yeah. So they'll probably lob it at Tel Aviv or something. I sure hope not. There's a lot of people. Tel Aviv's a big city. It's a modern city. There's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
The whole thing with the Panama Canal is kind of an interesting thing to watch too, because China, I call China that sleeping giant. They're just waiting for their opportunity to finish their 100-year plan, which is the 100-year plan of China is to take over the world. And they're well on their way to doing so. And they're escalating. They've been escalating to, they're at 70, 80 years now. So they want to make it happen. They don't want to wait another 20, 30 years. They're working on making it happen now. So that's why I really, when we look at the trumpets, which we're going to do in just a minute, when we get to the 6th trumpet, you'll see what I mean about China, because I really think China is going to be the major actor in that trumpet, the vision that John saw. But they've blocked a sale to, it was BlackRock, that was going to buy 43 global ports.
Wow.
So that it could stay out of the hands of China, and they've blocked that. Xi Jinping is angry that they didn't consult with him before the deal, and they've blocked it because there is a lot of strategy. It's a strategic, very strategic importance to passage through, between the Americas. So, Yeah, well, we got to keep our eye on that too, definitely. This is kind of a good news thing. Trump has actually deported over 100,000 illegal immigrants now. So
And
far.
they're bad ones. They're not
Yeah.
just mommy and children.
No,
They're,
Yeah.
you know,
They went after the worst.
Nicaragua and
Right. They went after the worst first. They're
yeah.
getting these mass murderers,
So
these
that is good.
horrible, terrible criminal people out of here,
Mhm.
which is awesome. Yes. So, yeah, in just a couple of months.
Yeah.
Happy about that.
So where are those 7,000? It drops to 7,000 a March.
Yeah.
So where are they? Where are they?
So these are 7,000 that
Are they
they know
gotaways?
about. These are that they know about, right? So they've caught them all. So they've caught 7,000 people coming across their border.
I see.
illegally,
Okay.
yes.
So that's not gotaways. That's
Right, this is
actual
caught.
arrests or caught
Yeah,
to send back.
because now they have
Wow,
power to
okay.
do so. Yeah.
Yeah, that is good news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you heard about the thing going on in France that there was an opposition leader that was just surging ahead in the polls in France that was against the status, the leading forces there in France, Macron and his henchmen, right? Now I don't know if she's really guilty of embezzlement, but they have dragged her into court and tried her and convicted her of embezzlement so that she can't run for office.
Wow.
What did Trump say? Trump said this is very much like this country.
So she must have been a good one.
Oh yeah, she was. She was against the establishment.
Marine Le
Yes.
Pen.
Yeah, and so they railroaded her with this charge of embezzlement. Who knows if it's true or not, but it's like they tried to railroad Trump, and that's exactly what he's talking about. Sounds very much like this country. Yeah, so she is not allowed to run. And she had a massive
Following.
Support. Her poll support in the polls was way up there. Yeah. Yeah, so I feel bad for France.
I feel really
but
bad for France.
they have gone down big time. This is kind of an interesting one that I wanted to point out. This historic polar flight. It's a SpaceX launched this Fram-2 mission, which is it's going to orbit around the poles. And normally they go around the equator because it's much easier. It takes a lot less energy, a lot less navigation because you're not going over magnets, right? You're going around, spinning around with the Earth and its rotation. This is going around the poles. It's doing a polar orbit, which is a 90-degree, as it says in this article, it's a 90-degree angle to the equator. So they're going around the Earth this way instead of around it, this way. And so I thought it was interesting only because what are the flat earthers going to do? What are the flat earthers going to do when they see that they're actually going around a ball?
They are delusional. They are delusional. And I honestly believe they just want a club. You're going to present it to them and they're still going to
There's people that absolutely are just sold on that. Lock, stock, and barrel. And
they just need
argue
to feel
till they're blue in the face
something.
about it. Even though you show them all the reasons why it's actually impossible.
Yeah, you just can't change people's minds.
It's like, are they going to stop demanding that we all adhere to their delusion?
No.
I doubt it. But it's just like, they're going to say it's all fake. They're not even really orbiting the planet. That's what they're going to say. But it's just funny.
Tim
I had to show that to you.
Too bad Tim's not here.
So, I know our usual people are not here in chat today.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a thing on Timcast, where the GOP office was torched, just like all the Teslas. They're doing torching everything in these terror attacks. Elon says that they should arrest the Democrat billionaires funding those attacks.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing that I wanted to bring up is, we know that he knows these people, right? He knows them. They are attacking him, trying to pull him down because he's gone against them, right?
It's a war.
He's going against them. He's taken over. He's saying, I'm the man. You failed. It's my turn.
I'm in the White House.
And they're trying to pull him down, and he's trying to pull them down now with this. So it's kind of, it's a little war. It's a war of they, right? It's just, oh man, I really hope, he's retiring from his Doge work at the end of the month.
Is that
or during this month? I don't remember. Yes, I saw an article where it's confirmed that he is actually going to, he was only a temporary post, and they've got it started. There's still a lot of people that are going to be doing the work. It's just he's going to go back to running his SpaceX and Tesla and Starlink and all that. So I just thought that was interesting to bring up today. Is Molly actually out here? Wow.
Yeah, she's
not
standing there. I'm
sleeping.
trying to grab her, but she keeps backing off.
I stole this from you, of course. This is just so, this is something that I have prayed recently.
Yeah, me
That's
too.
why I was like,
Me
wow,
too.
I've got to use that for the meme of the day, because I have literally prayed this recently.
Was
I
that
really
on
have
Godly Woman?
Yeah, I think so. Either that or you shared it or something. But I have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I trust you. And,
Yeah. Oh yeah. I did.
just lead me, Lord.
Yeah.
That is just, that's the best prayer anyone can pray anyway.
Right.
We don't try to tell God what to do. We say, what's your will, Lord? What do you want me to do? Yeah. That's just awesome.
Yeah.
One more thing. We were talking about this earlier. Where people, it's like, and it kind of struck me that people are just stuck.
Yeah.
They're stuck. And I'm talking about Christians. I'm talking about people that say they love the Lord, that claim to be Christians, right? And they're stuck. They're ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. We read 2 Timothy 3 as if it's all about other people. It's all about non-Christians. Well, no, this, you can hear our dog walking around. She's always in her bed sleeping. I don't know why she's up.
I don't either.
But this is not about non-Christians. No, this very much fits the church today. This fits everyone in the churches today, where they're more concerned about their life and their goals and their worldly things and their family rather than God. And it fits. And I know that there's people watching right now that's probably is offending. And I'm not trying to offend you. I'm trying to make you think. I'm trying to get you to ponder. Are you in the will of God? Are you ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth? Do you waver constantly or always changing your mind? Have you read the Bible? Because that's where all of the knowledge is reading the Bible from cover to cover. That's so important. That is what will get you out of the rut. The churchianity rut, I'll call it. And where you can actually learn the truth and dispel the lies. I've said this many times, and I'm going to say it again right now. If you go to church and you believe everything the pastor says, I don't care what denomination you are, whether you're a Catholic or a Protestant or a Baptist or a Lutheran or, whatever. I don't care. If you go to church and you believe everything they preach from the pulpit, you're believing lies. And you need to know that. You believe lies if that's what you believe. You need to pick up your Bible and read it from cover to cover, over and over, and seek the Lord and seek his truth and seek discernment from God. Because every church is teaching lies today. All of them. Hey, Jay, welcome, brother.
Hey, Jay.
So, that's it for the news. We're going to talk about the 7 trumpets now. So, hopefully we still have people with us after me talking about that. So, as we're studying the book of Revelation, we've talked about, how John saw Jesus Christ himself. Jesus actually dictated 7 letters to deliver to 7 of the churches that existed in that day, 2,000 years ago. When John was released from Patmos, he delivered those letters in the form of a single letter, the revelation of Jesus Christ, to all of those churches, along with all the visions that he recorded that he was shown. And so that's what chapters 2 and 3 are. Chapter 4 begins the vision of things which must be hereafter. This is what starts the prophetic parts of Revelation. And we see this vision of heaven, and then Jesus breaks the 7 seals. We talked about that. The 7 seals, I'm absolutely convinced that it's a parallel prophecy with Zechariah 6. You don't have to believe that. I believe it 100%. I can't tell you that I know it's true because I won't know that. Nobody will know whether it's true or not until all things are finished. And then we'll know. There's certain things that we are waiting for, like we're waiting for the confirmation of the covenant. We're waiting for when we see the 5th trumpet. There is going to be absolutely no doubt what that is, right? There's going to be the abomination of desolation, whereas the Apostle Paul says it's, when the Antichrist, the man of sin, sits in temple of God claiming to be God, that will be the abomination of desolation. We're going to see that. That's where the man of sin will be revealed, as he says. And we're going to talk more about the Antichrist when we get to chapter 13. But we just talked about how there's nested visions. And we saw how this vision is actually the same. It's the same stuff as, this vision here. This is a nested vision. We saw how this vision here is actually the same as chapter 21. When all things are done, it is finished, said God. This is the same vision. It's the same thing. And it's because after the 6th seal, for anybody who's new, if you go to BibleProphecyandTruth.com, chapter 10, under Biblical Prophecy, this is what we're studying right now. And I have a chart here that I like to show because this is so important to understand that the 6th seal, the 7th trumpet, 7th vial, Matthew 24 and Ezekiel 38 are the same event. And I've gone into a lot of detail over the last couple of weeks. If you've missed the first few sessions of this study on Revelation, go back and watch from the first one, because we've really gotten into some good discussion on how this is how we understand how to read Revelation. And one of the things that I pointed out last time was this, this nested vision here, where because the last seal is actually opened here, but we had this vision nested in there, right? And then in chapter 8, we see that the angels with the 7 trumpets, there's 7 angels and they're given 7 trumpets. And then, there's this whole other vision. And we talked about this on Sunday. And it's a vision of, it's another vision that's actually happening at the same time as the trumpets. And it ends at the same place. This is the same stuff that happens in the 6th seal, the 7th trumpet, the 7th vial. This is the final events. This is also another picture of the final event. So also pointed out that it doesn't matter what the chapter and verse numbers are, that those were inserted by men. It does not indicate that there's some, people like to say that Revelation 8:1, that the seals lead into the trumpets because, chapter 8 starts with the 7th seal and then goes right into, but we have to remember that this book was written as a single document where John documented all of the visions. It was not broken up in chapters and verses. It was just a document. And there's multiple places where we have visions nested within other visions. And we can see, if you do what I did and read Revelation over and over and over, just read it like 20 times, just flat out read it. And then after you've read it like 20 times and you really get all that, you really start seeing all the patterns of the visions that John was shown. Mm-hmm. And then you can really start studying it and really start understanding how to read the book, which is, it's not a chronological record of events. It's a record of a series of visions that John was shown, and the seals, trumpets, and vials, violets, the seals, trumpets, and vials all end at the same place. And it's the day of the Lord. It's the coming of the Lord when he appears in the clouds of heaven with power and glory, and then pours out his wrath. And then he wipes out the armies of the Antichrist and takes over and rules for 1,000 years with a rod of iron. We're going to see all that when we get there. But I'm going to keep reiterating things because it really takes repetition to kind of understand, the book of Revelation. It really does. That's why I say read it over and over and over. If you're going to study through this with us, read it at least one time between each study. And by the time we're done, you'll have read it quite a few times.
And you'll really understand it. You'll really understand it because there's so many people. I've heard so many people say nobody can understand it, or I've never known anybody who can understand Revelation. Well, you can.
Yes, you can.
Because when you study it and then you read it over and over, you will actually come out of this understanding Revelation.
Yeah. And the thing about prophecy that I point out all the time as well is that we have to understand that prophecy was written in the same way that Jesus taught when he was here in the flesh. He taught in parables, and he did it on purpose because he doesn't want those that don't love him to understand. He doesn't want them that don't love the truth to understand the truth. Yeah. And prophecy was written in exactly the same vein, where you really have to put all of prophecy together in order to understand. You can't just read just Revelation because there's so much in parallel with Zechariah, Joel, Ezekiel, Daniel, especially, all over the Old Testament prophets. There's things that are parallel with the book of Revelation. And when we put all of that together, then we can get a full, complete picture and really understand it. So that's what we're attempting to do here is as we're studying through, I'm trying to take you to the other places that are relevant to the scriptures we're studying. Now, the trumpets, the seals, like I said, I'm absolutely 100% convinced that the first 4 seals have been broken and have been broken for a long time. The spirits are in the world, have been in the world for a long time. The trumpets, I'm not as convinced, but when you see some things in the past that absolutely match the events of these trumpets. It might just blow your mind like it did mine when I first saw that.
Are you going to
Yeah.
like show the pictures and stuff like
Oh, yeah.
that? Ooh.
Yeah, so the 7 trumpets, the first 4 trumpets are kind of like the first 4 seals, or a completely different theme than when you get to the 5th seal and 6th seal, right? The first 4 seals are the horsemen that match the 4 horses and chariots of Zechariah, and the spirits in the world and what they basically do, right? And then the 5th seal is an event where it looks like it's probably near the end, where it's the souls under the altar asking Jesus when he's going to get vengeance on them being killed for him, for them being martyred. So we're probably in that period of time now, because there's literally people being martyred for Jesus every single day right now, today. And it's going to do nothing but escalate all the way into the time of the Antichrist and get much, much worse when he takes over. The 7 trumpets are kind of the same, where the first 4 trumpets have a theme, and then the 5th, 6th, and 7th trumpet are what's called the 3 woes, because there's an angel that flies through the midst of heaven saying, woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpets of the 3 angels, which are yet to sound. The final 3 trumpets are woes to the earth. But let's take a look at the first 4 today, because I really think that we might just be in the era of the 4th trumpet right now, which is absolutely mind-blowing when you think about that. Most people teach, there's so many teachers out there, and I say teachers very loosely because they're just people that are claiming to know stuff when they don't even understand prophecy. And most of them are just regurgitating what somebody else said because it sounded really cool, and they're doing it to get views and all of that. When the reason I'm here is to try to help you understand the truth. And I don't care about getting followers or views or monetizing or any of that. I'm here to just give the truth away for free. In fact, I pay to give the truth away. I actually pay to advertise Google and other places because everything I have belongs to God. And there's nothing more important than helping the kingdom of God, as Jesus requires of us. We are supposed to be working for the kingdom of God. We're supposed to take that money he gave us and make more of it.
Yeah. The
most precious thing, the most valuable thing we have is the truth. And that's why I'm here. That's why I do this. So, I don't care about anything else other than helping you to understand God's word, at least as well as I do. Maybe even better, I hope. But that's why I'm here. So we're going to take a look at the first couple of trumpets right now. And you might just agree that we are very likely in that era right now. So if you go to BibleProphecyandTruth.com and go to chapter 6, the 7 trumpets, I've got a video on it, of course, and I talk about, as I do with all of these, we can't say for sure that certain things are, right? I can't tell you for sure that these are the trumpets, even though it's very compelling. It seems like it's very likely. I can't tell you that this is a fact. And nobody will know that it's a fact at least until we see the 5th trumpet, because the 5th trumpet is going to be something that we will be able to recognize. And I don't believe it's going to be something that's not so easily recognized. That's why Satan is setting up the world for aliens, because he's going to say it's aliens. but we'll talk about that when we get there. But why do I write about something I think is unlikely? Because God taught in parables, and I really don't think that it's going to be obvious. It's not going to be obvious that the trumpets are blowing. If it was so obvious that everybody could see what it is for what it is, what would be the point? This would it would contradict everything else that Jesus does. He taught in parables. So you don't have to believe the way I'm telling it to you, but think about it. So the first trumpet. Now, first of all, we have to remember that John was shown these visions, but he'd never seen a nuclear weapon. He'd never seen any kind of mushroom cloud from a bomb. He didn't know what a helicopter was, or high caliber guns from tanks, or attack vehicles, scorch earth weapons dropped from airplanes,
ships,
missiles, or anything like that. He had no frame of reference to try to describe what he was seeing. So we have to try to follow what he saw with an eye for what we know today. So, and I like to point out that if you've ever been in an art class, I remember this from grade school, I guess. I remember being in an art class, and the teacher actually had like half of the students leave, showed an object to the other half, and had that half try to explain what that object was in words only, without drawing a picture, and just using words to explain what it was. And then had the other half come in and try to visualize what it was based on those words. And it's like, nobody got it, right? Nobody got what the actual thing was, right? Because it's really difficult to get a real picture painted using only words, and not using words that actually tell you what it is, right? You can't say, well, it's this. It was a dish and it was colored green. And no, you have to use descriptive words. And that's what John was doing when he was writing these visions down. He had no frame of reference for what he was describing. So we have to remember that when we look at it. Now, first, the obvious, right? And this is what everybody says. Well, Dan, it's obvious, yeah. Right? I mean, I've heard it so many times. It's obvious that it's an asteroid, but I don't think God's going to do the obvious. So the obvious is the asteroid, right? Hail and fire mingled with blood cast on the earth. Third of the trees and all grass are burnt up, right? A great mountain burning with fire cast into the sea, right? So asteroids, right? A big asteroid with a whole bunch of little asteroids, preluding it. This is what everybody says. This is the obvious thing, right? The asteroid plummeting into the ocean. Mm-hmm. Well, it could be. I'm not saying it's not that, because that's the obvious, right? An asteroid, a great mountain burning with fire cast into the sea. But so before you decide, remember that God teaches in parables. I don't think that he's going to give the world such an obvious thing. So you might say, well, but you just said you're going to be able to recognize the fifth trumpet, Dan. Well, yes, that's true. But
that one's going to be obvious.
Satan is already setting up the world to believe it's aliens when this happens. Mm-hmm. So, and you'll see what I mean when we get to the fifth trumpet. But so let's look at what happened in World War I and World War II. And then the third trumpet might just blow your mind.
I think it just starts getting more obvious as each trumpet goes on.
It could be. It seems like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of the trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. That's very, very short, very vague.
Yeah.
It could be any number of things. Some people teach that this was World War I, and it's, there's a chance of that. But when I look at, World War I, they used scorch earth weapons, right? they did things like that, but does it really? My vote is no. I don't really think it was World War One. I don't think there's enough about World War One that really matches that. Now it could be there were almost 8.5 million people killed in that war, which is very significant, right? In God's eyes. But was that the first trumpet? It could be, but I kind of think, well, probably not. Another possibility is, and I think Jay was the one that pointed
Jay
this out to me.
suggested this. Yeah.
The Leonid storm of 1833, where there, every hour 100,000 meteors crossing the sky, and of course they fell at some points. There were some bigger ones and smaller ones, I'm sure. Who knows how many trees were burnt up, the grass and that kind of thing. Cool. Does it have to be a all green grass on the whole earth, or a localized thing? We don't know, right, at this point. So it could have been something like this, right? This was artwork that was done about the Leonid storm that happened in 1833. I've got a link here.
I didn't hear about that. Did you, before Jay suggested it?
No, I hadn't seen it.
I had never heard of that.
And it's the falling stars. It's this artwork. There's a link to the blog here I have on the page.
Is this person saying that it could have been the first trumpet?
This guy, no.
Yeah. Oh, because it's Bible readings for the home.
Oh, the blog, you mean? Oh, I don't think that they try to say it's the trumpet. They're just pointing out that it, all the things that happened and the events that happened.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think.
What did Jay say? It's also probably not World War One.
Because that would be more than one generation. Yeah,
yeah.
So when you look at what Jesus said, but you have to remember though, Jay, that the trumpets are part of the book of Revelation, not part of the signs that Jesus gave.
Okay. And that makes sense too.
When they asked Jesus, what should be the sign of your coming and the end of the world, he gave those signs, but it was not part of the trumpets or Revelation.
It's so weird.
But
I was actually thinking that, it's not in our generation. That's weird that Jay said something about that. I was just thinking that.
But when he said that this generation shall not pass away, before all is fulfilled, when you see the signs, he said that before Revelation was penned. He said that to the disciples while he was still here, before he was crucified. So that's a very good point. But I don't think it applies to the trumpets because of that.
Okay.
So, especially if the seals have been broken for 1,700 years, it definitely would not apply.
Okay.
So I good point, but I'm kind of thinking it doesn't apply.
Okay.
The head scratching thing is the third part of the trees and all green grass. It's hard to reconcile, but like I said, it's likely metaphoric, not literal, right? Not literally all green grass. So the first trumpet's kind of iffy, right? Who knows if it was World War I, if it was the Leonid storm, maybe it's something else that we don't even know about. Who knows, right? But let's just leave that where it is. You can think whatever you want about that, but let's look at the second and third trumpets, because this is where it really gets compelling, and it really, really fits the trumpets very well. The second angel sounded, and as it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and a third part of the sea became blood. The third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. So, it sounds like a large asteroid plummeting to the earth, but a great mountain burning with fire cast into the sea. If John saw a nuclear explosion in the inland sea in Japan, where Hiroshima was bombed, would it look like a great burning mountain, burning with fire? And I know this is a black and white. I need to get a better picture for this.
Oh,
because,
you know that thing was
because
glowing.
a nuclear explosion is a great burning ball of fire, right? He could have described it that way. You know, when you look at this, you see the tiny little ships in the foreground, right? This is a huge explosion. And so could he have described that as a great mountain burning with fire? Possibly. And when you think about this third part of the sea becomes blood, crude oil is compressed organic material that's decayed and liquefied. So that could potentially be blood to God, right? Crude oil, liquefied organic dead material, animals and plants. There was literally millions of barrels of oil lost at sea during the war, and there's tens of millions more that are actually in deteriorating ships at the bottom of the ocean from that war that are actually the ships are decaying and imploding, and the oil is leaking out into the ocean right now.
Yeah.
We don't know the extent of damage. One of the things that really got me here, though, is 36,387 ships were destroyed during this war. There was a total of 105,127 ships used in World War II. 36,387 is incredibly close to one third. A third part of the ships are destroyed. Right?
I forgot about that.
So you might think, well, that's a third part of the ships that were on the ocean when the asteroid plummeted into it. Yeah, it could be. But this is, to me, this really fits World War II really well. And if God was couching this in parables, like he does, this could very well be the second trumpet. So you don't, like I said, you don't have to believe that. It's pretty compelling, especially when, you know, there's all kinds of fishermen talking about how there's dramatically less fish in the sea after World War II. The fish are dying. There's a lot less abundance of fish in the ocean today. So I think, you know, a third part of the ships, a third part of the creatures in the sea die, the mountain burning with fire. Yeah, wow, that really fits pretty well. So, but this is the one that really got me, and I know it's the one that really got you.
Yes, I was convinced at that one.
The third trumpet, the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. Molly's just really active today.
I know, but she was standing on the footstool and she stopped and she looked up at me when I looked at her like she was doing something naughty or something. I know.
That's funny. Anyway, this is really important. And it fell upon a third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood. And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Now, if you know what happened in Ukraine in 1986, in Chernobyl, a nuclear reactor blew up in 1986. And it's that if you were to read this, the really interesting thing is if you were to read this in the Ukrainian local dialect, Ukrainian, you would read, and the name of the star is called Chernobyl. The nuclear reactor called Chernobyl that blew up in 1986 was a horrific event. The first explosion blew the 2 million pound lid off the reactor. The second explosion sent nuclear radiation a mile into the atmosphere, and it burned in a full nuclear fire for 3 weeks. And if you were looking at that from a couple of miles away, might it look like a big burning lamp? Maybe. I mean, no, I know this is not a picture of Chernobyl, but I'm just saying, what would John have seen, right? This big burning nuclear fire. 10 times as much radiation was released as the Hiroshima bombing. And here's the thing. Remember, the theme of this is the waters. It fell upon a third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And a third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters. Well, it rained incessantly for 5 days. The radiation cloud moved all across Europe. This is the path of the radiation cloud as it moved. It dumped so much rain. If you've ever been in a tropical rainstorm, it was worse than that. And it rained solid like that for 5 solid days. And all of that runoff, that radiated, contaminated water went into the rivers and went into Europe. And they have no idea how many people have been affected by that radiation.
Countries
in Europe. And,
countries.
125,000 people directly have died due to that. But remember, the theme, sorry, is the waters. And the waters flowed into the rivers, contaminated all into Europe because of that incessant rainstorm. And it's contaminated Europe big time. We have no idea how many people have died, how many birth defects have happened, how many children have been affected, and diseases, and what's going on because of that in the following generations. It's way worse than 125,000 people.
Oh, yeah.
So this, to me, is like the most compelling thing. The third trumpet, it's like that really, really looks like.
And it means
could be that event.
wormwood means Chernobyl, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. If you look it up,
What the heck?
the word Chernobyl, word wormwood is Chernobyl in Ukraine. You can look it up.
Look it up.
It is.
Open it up.
Yeah. So, in fact, I even have let me see. I'm pretty sure I have a screenshot that I took of the fifth trumpet. I'm going to show it to you
Fifth
here.
Or third?
Wormwood.
Oh,
wait. It's third trumpet. You're right. Sorry. Thinking wrong here. 7 trumpets. Maybe not. I don't know. I know I have it somewhere, but I'm not going to spend the time trying to find it right now. I know I have it, but I don't have it readily available. Sorry. But it's a screenshot of the word Chernobyl equaling wormwood. So that to me is very compelling. That was like when I first heard that, I was like, wow, this could be true. Now, like I said, maybe none of these have happened yet.
Yeah.
Maybe we're still waiting for all of the trumpets to blow. Maybe it is going to be an asteroid. But I really don't think God's going to be that obvious. So we'll see, right? The fourth trumpet is another one.
Yeah, that's a
It's
tough
like
one.
it seems like we're in this shortening of days, that like time is being speeded up by God. And it's the wording of this is you have to really kind of think about it. Because the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, a third part of the moon, a third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. Now, a third part of the day and the night, it's almost like God speeded up time. Sped up time. Now, if I would have said sped up time, you would have said speeded.
No, I've never said speeded. It's not even.
But because I would normally say sped up, but
No, it's
I'm
sped
trying
up.
to avoid the pronunciation
sped up.
police. And I failed. So
like
Matthew-
eye salve, and it's not. It's eye salve.
right. So one of the things that seems like it might be a relevant parallel passage is Matthew 24, where Jesus said, except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Now, it might be relevant to this. It might be an indication that the days themselves are shortened rather than time, like time itself being compressed, rather than the number of days. Because if you've been with us for any length of time, you know that there's a very specific number of days that God has already given us. God's already told us a very specific number of days for several events. And so that's not going to change. So those days are not going to be shortened. He may be talking about the overall time frame of, maybe mankind would have had longer, but there would be no flesh saved because we would actually utterly destroy ourselves probably if those days were not shortened. So maybe God just shortened up the time from the very beginning. Maybe means that. I tend to lean towards the day itself as being shortened.
I know people
That's kind
don't
of what
really
it thinks.
understand, but I've heard people that don't even talk about God in any way, shape, or form say
How fast
time just seems to be flying by for some reason.
It is. It's flying so fast.
Like more now than what I believed 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing I like to point out is, when I first started studying this, it's been 20 years now. I asked my kids because they were young. They were in grade school at the time. And I remember when I was in grade school, summer vacation, it was like 2.5, 3 months. It seemed forever. It was this long, glorious time, that just went on. And it seemed like it lasted a long time. I asked my kids 20 years ago, and they're like, no, it's here and gone. Because I was noticing 20 years ago how time had sped up. And, and it's like exponentially speeding up now, where today it's like it's going so fast I can't even keep up. It's crazy.
I know.
So does it mean that? Maybe. Not telling you it does. I'm saying it's very compelling. It's like, wow, maybe that is what it means. And here's another thing I think that Jay pointed out as well. When you look at and this is where I talked about that, but Einstein's theory of relativity, blah, blah. But here's the thing. Satan set up exact duplicate prophecies in Islam, where the good guys of Islam are the bad guys of the Bible, right? The Antichrist and false prophet of the Bible are the Mahdi and the Muslim Jesus of Muslim prophecy that Satan set up. Well, what did Satan say about the time of the end? It says the hour will not be established until time passes rapidly. Such that a year is like a month, and a month is like a week, and a week is like a day, and a day is like an hour, and an hour is like a flicker of a flame. Now, why would Satan have set up this false prophecy to match the Bible's prophecies?
Is this literally in the Quran?
Yes. Well, this is a hadith. This is not Quran, but the hadith and the Sunnah are given equal doctrinal value in Islam as the Quran itself.
So do you think maybe the Antichrist will be a hadith? The one that reads a hadith instead of the Quran?
Well, no, they all read the hadith and the Quran.
Oh,
they're all part of the doctrine of Islam as the hadith.
okay,
The
okay.
hadith and the sunnah are the things Muhammad said and the things Muhammad did.
Okay, okay.
And they complement the Quran. They're not like separate writings or anything. They're part of Muslim doctrine. Yeah, so he's
It's in the,
so this is
in
like,
the hadith.
wow, Satan might think that this is going to be a speeding up of time.
That's very interesting.
Because
Jay
wow,
pointed that out because I didn't know that.
I think it was Jay. Pretty sure it was.
Jay's like, I'll take the credit.
Yeah. But that was like, oh
That's
boy, does
interesting.
that really kind of put an extra little, it's
they
very
say
compelling.
that.
Yeah. So Satan, because you have to remember, Satan knows prophecy. He knows it way better than I do, right? He knows it better than anybody. Satan knows prophecy. He's had he's had 2,000 years, right? He's had 2,500 years since the time of Daniel. He's had about 2,500 years from Isaiah and Ezekiel and, the prophets back then. And he's had a couple thousand years since Revelation. He's had millennia to study this stuff. And he definitely knows it better than anyone. And that's why he was able to duplicate the prophecies of the Bible so well in Islam. Because, he didn't write them like, well, this is going to happen like this. No, he wrote it just like the Bible's prophecies are written, to duplicate the mystery kind of way that it's written. And it created these prophecies that match the Bible so well that it's actually mind-blowing. So when I see this, I think, wow, maybe that is really what it's going to be. So are we in the time of the fourth trumpet? I don't know. We could be. And it's not as compelling as the seals being broken, that we're in the time of the fifth seal, or at least just before the fifth seal. And the first four have been broken. I can't tell you that's a fact, but I believe it 100%. The trumpets, I'm kind of 50-50. It's pretty compelling, and it could be, but we just have to wait and see. It's actually pretty mind-blowing, though. If this is the first time you've ever heard of this, you might just be going, wow, because I certainly did when I first saw this. So now we get into the three woes. And what I'm going to do is the fifth trumpet, the three woes, like I was talking about earlier, there's a theme in the first four seals, right? They're completely different than the last three seals. Well, the same with the trumpets. The first four trumpets seem to be like warnings from God. But the first four, did I say four? The first four trumpets are like warnings. The last three are the three woes, which are definitely much more than warnings. There's a completely different thing. And the thing about the first four trumpets is it's all about a third part. A third part of time is shrunk, if you would say it that way. A third part of the trees and the grass, a third part of the ships, a third part of the fish in the sea, a third part of the sea becomes blood, a third part of the waters, all of the first four trumpets have this theme of a third part. The vials, you'll see when we get to the wrath of God, the vials are all of the fish die. All of the rivers and fountains of waters and the sea all turn to blood 100%. It's all at the wrath of God. So the three woes seem to be more of not just a warning from God, but more of judgments coming down from God. Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth. So I'm going to show you I'm going to click here. This is a video that I'm going to play for you, just because I think it's worth playing. Now, there's a document that I have as well. I thought I had it linked here. I guess it doesn't really matter. There's documents that I have, newsletters that I have, and things like that. And there's the 7 trumpets document, of course, that we're looking at. It's the aliens. Sorry, let me just go there real quick. So I want to show you this in case you're interested. There's kind of a parallel document that I wrote. If you go to the notes on BibleProphecyandTruth.com, go to the newsletters archive, click on the list and search for alien. You have to type it right though. Aliens in the Bible. I talk about this very thing, and I have this video on here as well. And when we look at this, I'm gonna play this video for you first, because it really is quite compelling. And it's when you see what happens in this trumpet, you're going to see this is not going to be something that we'll see that won't be clearly,
it's going to be
easily
obvious.
Understood and obvious. So,
everybody's going to see this. Everybody's going to be affected by it too.
Yeah. So let me start about half volume, see if that's about right. So it's about 12 minutes, packed full of stuff though.
Okay.
Hi, this is Dan from Bible Prophecy and Truth. Today we're going to talk about the opening of the deep, the abyss, in the 5th trumpet. Again, I want to thank Sachiko for some of the awesome graphics you'll see in this video. It's very possible that we're already past the first 3 trumpets of Revelation, and in the time of the 4th trumpet now, awaiting the coming of the 3 woes. See my webpage or videos on the 7 trumpets to see why this may be possible. But today we're going to focus on this first woe. This is going to be an event we can only imagine coming out of a horror story, but it will happen just as God said it will. This is the first of 3 woes. The first 4 trumpets are all almost certainly warnings and wake-up calls from God. The 3 woes are more of a judgment from God, and a very dire warning, it seems, when we read about these events. Revelation 8:13, "And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the 3 angels which are yet to sound." The bottomless pit, or the abyss, the deep, is going to be opened. Revelation 9:1, "And the 5th angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him, an angel, was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power." In Luke chapter 8, the devils begged Jesus not to send them into the deep, which is the same place as this bottomless pit. It's full of demons and devils, and it's going to be opened. These locust creatures are going to be swarms of demons inhabiting the form of a flying locust with stings like a scorpion. In those days, men will seek death, but they will not find it. For 5 months, these creatures will torment men. Revelation 9:7, "And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men, and they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. And they had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months." This is going to be horrific. People will be panicking and freaking out, screaming in terror and flailing about in pain from the stings. Will they wake up and finally acknowledge God? Probably not. Satan is setting them up for failure by pretending there are aliens and UFOs from outer space. So they will claim these creatures are aliens, most likely. Instead of going to the Bible and seeing it for what it is, a dire warning from God, they will believe the brainwashing of Satan and explain it away with aliens or some evolved creature or anything at all besides God and his warning. So for the sake of argument, let's talk about this for a minute. Are there really any alien beings, or are they just evil spirits pretending to be aliens? I invite you to watch the video on this page where an astrophysicist reveals why UFO claims aren't what they seem. Newsletters, Bible Prophecy, and Truth.com.
On the same page, there's a video
aliens
right
in the
underneath
Bible,
it.
Zeruzlaz 2:520. HTML, chariots of fire. Some say that Elijah was taken up in a spaceship, based on the description in 2 Kings 2:11 and 2 Kings 6:17. Are these really spacecraft, or are they just a description of a fiery whirlwind? And the only frame of reference in those days was chariots or horses that they could use to describe it. Whatever it was not aliens. It was a visual representation of God taking Elijah to another place. It was interdimensional travel, just as angels and evil spirits are really a sort of interdimensional being. The realm of God and his angels is something like another dimension outside of this physical realm that we live in. What we know as the sea in Daniel 7 is the sea of creation, which is the physical realm that we live in. This is really a basic understanding we need in order to understand who God is. God is not part of the universe. If you looked everywhere, in every corner of the universe, you would not find God. He exists completely outside of it. He created the universe and all physical things, but he's not a part of it. He became part of it by being born into it as a man in Jesus Christ, but the Spirit, which is God, does not exist in the same realm that we do. For the sake of argument, we can call it another dimension. But there are no aliens in the Bible, nor are there any aliens, a sapient species from another planet, that have ever been proven to exist in this universe. And a very specific point I'd like to make here is that we know God is going to destroy the universe and remake everything at the end of the millennial reign. This is so we go into eternity with perfection, just as it was in the beginning before sin entered into the world. Why would God make other sapient beings only to destroy them because of mankind's sins and wickedness? He's not that kind of God. He will destroy the wicked people of this world, but it's their own fault, not the fault of some other alien race. Just a thought. So in the Bible, over and over in the Old Testament, we see that devils are the false gods that people sacrificed to and worshipped instead of God. Leviticus 17:7, Deuteronomy 32:17, 2 Chronicles 11:15, Psalms 137, etc. These evil spirits have been luring people away from God for thousands of years. They pretend to be gods as well as other things. The fifth section of Daniel 2's prophecy of the kings, the iron mingled with clay, is a two-part section that doesn't mix and is partly strong and partly broken. Some people say that verse 43 is talking about aliens, but again, it's just the devils and evil spirits. Daniel 2:43, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. The jinn or jinn of Islam, genies, are evil spirits or devils. Is this the they that mingle themselves with the seed of men? The clay of Daniel 2 that doesn't mix with the iron is definitely Islam. This has been proven by history. See the iron and clay of Daniel 2 in my article and video series on prophecy and the present times. Islam is a false religion manufactured by Satan, and the evil spirits are massively mingling with Muslims. This is most likely what verse 43 is talking about. Angels can appear as a man if they choose to. The angels that sinned, the sons of God in Genesis, are angels, sons of God, as shown in Job 1:6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them, Genesis 6:2, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose, verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. They can appear as men. Genesis 6 shows us that they came to the earth and took wives and had children with them, certainly in the appearance of men capable of physical insemination. Enoch and Jasher show us that they can appear as pretty much anything. Animals, bodies of water, men or women, etc. Both 2 Peter and the book of Enoch gives us details about the punishment of these angels that sinned, which gives us clues about who these evil spirits are and where they came from. 2 Peter 2:4. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, Tartaru, the deepest abyss of Hades, and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment. They are all locked away in the lowest part of Hades until judgment day. Those angels that sinned are not the devils or evil spirits that were spoken of in the Old Testament after the flood, and in the New Testament. They are not the evil spirits that are currently in the world today. It's the children of these fallen angels that are evil spirits who have been confined to the earth, that are spoken of and exist today. The offspring of the angels that sinned are confined to the earth as evil spirits. Enoch chapter 15. Demons, devils, ghosts, etc. are these evil spirits. Ghosts are likely these pretending to be a ghost to create fear and confusion. Legion and the other devils in Jesus' day are these evil spirits. So no, there are no aliens, no ghosts, no apparitions of dead people. Satan has set the world up for it, so the world will think they're aliens, or possibly some evolved creature. We know aliens are not biblical, but devils are, and Satan has created this idea of aliens along with evolution, so he can distract and obscure the truth when the trumpet blows. We know that there are evil spirits and fallen angels, but that Satan is not one that was imprisoned at the time of the flood, and that he will take a third of the angels of heaven with him when he's cast to the earth at the time of the Antichrist, Revelation 12. So it's likely that some of the angels are working with Satan now, and these are also in the world deceiving and lying and creating doubt and confusion, along with these spirits, which are the offspring of the fallen angels. Following the father of lies, Satan, Daniel 10:13 shows that there are evil spirits that attempt to thwart the angels doing God's work. No, there are no aliens. They are evil spirits pretending to be aliens. They are attempting to fool us and confuse us. And the locusts from the bottomless pit in the fifth trumpet will be demons in the form of these creatures. They will only have power for 5 months, so they may appear to die off, which will give even more credence to Satan's lies that they were some alien creatures that were killed by something in the earth. Hopefully there will be some who come out of this chaos and terror to seek God. I pray it is so. There aren't many who listen to the truth today. They're too comfortable in their wealth and things of the world and their churchianity. Maybe some will wake up when this happens. We can only hope. We know that this event will happen. An angel will be given the key to the bottomless pit, and the angel will open the bottomless pit. Swarms of the horrible locust-like creatures will come out of the pit and will torment men for 5 months. And we can be certain that Satan will try to keep people from understanding what this event really is. If you're not a believer today, it is my hope and prayer that you will remember this video when that day comes, and you will fall to your knees before the mighty God in repentance on that day. If you're a Christian who loves the Lord Jesus, remember that this will only affect those who do not have the seal of God in their foreheads, and I believe this extends to all who have the Holy Spirit in them. We who love him need not fear, and these things won't be able to hurt us. The world will be going insane around us, however, so it will affect us in that way. Most importantly, we will hopefully be able to reach people during and after this event, and maybe some will listen. For more information, go to BibleProphecyandTruth.com.
So, I hope that was entertaining, if not informative. So, if you want to see that again, it's on if you go to BibleProphecyandTruth.com to the 7 trumpets, it's linked here on this videos page, or on the 7 trumpets page, and then this link here will take you to this page, which also has a very, very interesting video of an astrophysicist who was interviewed, where I'm going to give you a little synopsis of it. He was a guy that went to work as an astrophysicist. He got a job at a university, and he was the newbie on the staff, right? So he was given the job of going and investigating all of the supernatural UFO sightings and reports. Yeah. What he points out in this video is that 99% of those can be explained away as some natural event, or military aircraft, or some kind of thing that you can explain it. But there's that 1% residual that is unexplainable. And he talks about where people actually saw some kind of object crash into the earth and reported on an alien ship crashed. And they would go to the site, and there would be evidence in the vegetation of furrow in the earth of some kind of a crash, but there is no object there, and there's no debris of any object there. It was something. There's evidence of a crash, but nothing, no evidence of what crashed at all, ever, in any of their investigations. And just like I pointed out in the video I just showed you, the angels can appear as anything they want. These evil spirits can appear as anything they want. They can pretend to be your dead loved one. They can pretend to be a river. They can pretend to be an alien. They can pretend to be an alien ship and fly alongside military aircraft to confound everyone. Whoa, look at that. And I'm absolutely convinced that Satan is doing this purposefully, setting up the world for the fifth trumpet, because he's going to say that they're aliens. I guarantee you, this astrophysicist talks about the very same thing, where he says that there's nothing that actually corroborates any kind of alien visitations. There's people that have said that they were abducted and things like that. There's never any actual evidence of any abductions, but what they do describe is creatures, which certainly could be demons pretending to be aliens, doing things to them. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the strangest things was this thing called automatic writing, where I know that there's people that supposedly do automatic writing from the spirit world, but then there's people that are supposed to be getting this automatic writing from aliens. And they write entire manifestos, entire books, pretty much from these aliens, supposedly using automatic writing. And the funny thing about these supposed writings from aliens is aliens seem to be obsessed with Jesus Christ. They seem to be absolutely and singularly obsessed with disputing the existence of Jesus Christ and his deity. Now, why would an alien civilization who's doing automatic writing to people on the earth care about a religious belief if it were not true? Right? Why would they care? And why would they be so insistent on just one religion and disputing it? And I'm telling you why. Because they're demons and they're trying to get people to disbelieve in the one true God, Jesus Christ. That's why. And I've also got, in addition to this, I've got a couple other videos that I have that I don't have on the website of other people talking about this exact same thing, that aliens are not aliens, they are demons. There's a lot of people actually that have evidence of this, and this most compelling one is this astrophysicist who fell into this job, didn't even care about it, knew nothing about it, but just was the guy that had to go and investigate all of these reports. And he learned that this is not aliens, this is a cult. This is the spirit demons in the world that are doing this thing. So it's almost certainly, I'm 100% convinced that Satan is doing this on purpose to set up the world for the fifth trumpet, to set up the world for this event. Well, now I did it. I tried to get that picture back for this event when the bottomless pit is opened. And, there's the bottomless pit is the same thing as when Jesus cast out the demons, and they called themselves Legion because they were many, and they pleaded with Jesus not to be sent to the deep. Well, the Greek word for deep there, for the deep, is the same word that's used in Revelation for the bottomless pit. It's the same thing. The deep is the abyss, the bottomless pit, where there are who knows how many hordes of demons trapped there. And when this pit is opened, all of these demons are going to come swarming out, and they're going to be these creatures that are attacking people. I have on this aliens page I showed you earlier, that this is an artist's rendering, right, of what it might look like. This is really good. I really like how Sachiko created this image of this. They have crowns of gold, hair like women, faces of men, teeth of lions.
It looks like a demon. It looks like a demon.
And it looks like a demon, exactly. And it's
but I don't know what
tail.
those breastplates are supposed to.
Well, it says they have breastplates of iron, right? Like a horse going into battle. So don't know what it's going to be in reality. When we see it, we'll see it. And that's why I say when we see the fifth trumpet, you think it's going to be aliens too. Well, it's going to be demons. Absolutely.
Jay.
One thing, it's like I said in the video, why would God create other sapient races of beings to destroy them all because of mankind's sin? I really don't think that he did. I don't think there are any aliens in the universe, because the universe is going to be remade from scratch when after the end of the 1,000-year reign. So I don't think there are any aliens. I really doubt that God would have created other beings just to destroy them.
And why are they not making themselves known? And everybody who has to report on them never has any evidence.
Yeah, there's no actual real evidence.
And every single photo.
Oh, he said, okay, I didn't mean real aliens. I mean, they are going to fake it. Yeah,
I know that. I thought it was funny.
Okay, brother. Yeah, I misunderstood you.
But all the
and I was
photos
like, I don't
they
think
have,
he really means that, but you didn't mean that, so I'm glad.
All the photos that they have of alien ships are blurry. It's just, even if I didn't even believe in God, I wouldn't believe that there's aliens, because nobody has evidence of it.
There's evidence, but no evidence. Yeah,
somebody can't just come and do an interview and say they stole me and they did all the, there's no evidence. I need proof. I'm a realist. All right. I want to see it in order to believe it. And there's never been that ever.
Yeah. And it's like that astrophysicist, his testimony is just so compelling. It's really awesome. You should watch that video for sure. And then, some pictures of, some other renderings that I have on this page of, they're just ones I think I have. Did I link it? Yeah, I actually did link that in that aliens video or aliens page as well to this one. So you should definitely watch that aliens or demons video. But there's some other renderings, other people that drew stuff.
Yeah, I don't like that one. That one looks
kind of a, it's
it's
more of a locust type creature, right?
I like that.
And then this one,
that one.
This one's really cool because this is like,
it looks like
an actual locust with this weird face, it's like,
that one looks like.
And you could see those things come swarming out of the bottomless pit. Man. And then some others that I found that just, people's different ideas of what it might look like.
It's not a woman. It is. That looks.
Well, they have the faces of men and hair of women, right? And teeth of lions. Yeah.
But mankind, like humankind, faces of humankind.
Faces like men, yeah. And this is a good one because that's what it's going to be like, is swarms of these things.
It's going to look like little creatures. They're going to look like creatures.
When we read about it in the fifth trumpet, chapter 9, this is going to be an event, like I said, that I don't think we're going to have any question. Those people like us that are watching for this event, I don't think there's going to be any question that this is what it is. Now, and the reason, Satan, you have to remember, he's not just some stupid little spirit. No, he is a very powerful fallen angel that has, if you want to talk about IQ, he probably has a 200 plus IQ, right? If you were to measure angels, they're going to be extremely intelligent. He's the father of lies. He's had millennia to study this stuff. And he's the one that's setting up the world for aliens, because this is going to be the one event that we're going to say, now that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's
so,
going to be really obvious.
I don't think he's as worried about the first 4 trumpets as he is this one, because he's literally setting up the world to believe it's aliens. Yeah. And then the 6th trumpet is something. One of the things I do like to point out when I talk about this particular trumpet is, that they should be tormented 5 months, and their torment was as the torment of a scorpion, and they shall seek death and shall not find it. So the stings of this thing are not going to kill you, just like a grown man. If you're a grown man and you're stung by a scorpion, it normally doesn't kill you. It might kill a child, but it wouldn't normally kill an adult human. But the poison from a scorpion sting is horrific. I mean, it causes muscle cramps and pain, serious, intense muscle pain and things like that. And it's a horrible, horrible poison, which when you think about the torment was as the torment of a scorpion, and men shall seek death. They're going to be like, kill me, but they won't die from this thing. And it's going to be, they're going to be given power for 5 months is what it says. So, this is going to be a thing, for 5 months, where it's going to be like the movies. And you know how they always make a movie about something that's going to happen? Satan has made movies about this, where he's written stories about this, where there's, aliens come, and then there's some bacteria from Earth or whatever that kills them off, right?
War of the Worlds.
Like War of the Worlds, right? So they're going to be here for 5 months, and I bet they're all going to die at the end of those 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to appear to die anyway. The creatures, whatever they are, and they're going to say, yeah, something on the earth killed these aliens.
Bacteria. It's another war of the worlds.
And so this is going to galvanize men to create a one world order big time, because, we need to get off this planet. Kind of like Elon's trying to do now, right? We need to get off this planet before we utterly destroy ourselves. And, he's onto something there.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't believe in God. He's an evolutionist, right? His religion is evolution, and he wants to have a galactic civilization. It's not going to happen in this lifetime. It's going to be after Christ returns. And when he remakes all of heaven and earth, then the universe is going to be our playground, but not now. And there's not going to be any galactic civilization. Christ is going to return first. We're not going to get off this planet before we would have absolutely destroyed ourselves, as Jesus said. There shall be no flesh saved if the days weren't shortened. We would die off. Musk's dream is a great one in a worldly sense, but it ain't going to happen because the Bible actually tells us it's not going to happen that way. So, but it's going to galvanize men, was my point here. After this event, when these creatures are here for 5 months tormenting men, they're going to say they're aliens, and then they died off, and they're going to be like, we gotta escalate this. But then, of course, what's going to happen next? This is the first woe. This is just the first woe. And so now we're going to talk about the 6th trumpet, but we're running out of time, so we're going to pick this up on Sunday, and we're going to talk about the 6th.
This one, trumpet. Everyone will definitely believe.
No, nobody will miss this one, because a third part of men are going to die. So today that would be close to 3 billion people, according to the latest consensus or census estimates.
But everybody knows there's a war coming. So.
And everybody's talking about World War III, which, Jesus said one of the signs that would herald is coming is wars and rumors of wars. Everybody's worried about World War III coming, and which I believe is going to be the event that this trumpet ends, right? When a third part of men are killed, the war is going to end. So this is going to be a war. It's going to have an army of horsemen, right? But when it happens, when this trumpet blows, and the third part of men are killed, that the war will end, because when 3 billion people die, the war is going to be over. The world is going to be a completely different place. And that's why I always say that I believe the Antichrist is going to use this as a stepping stone into power. Well, look, we just had an alien invasion, and we just had a war that nearly destroyed us all.
Yeah.
We need to come together, and I'm the savior of the world, and the world is going to clamor to him and lift him up as the savior of the world, literally. And then he's going to have, of course, the false prophet doing miracles, but we haven't got there yet. That's in chapter 13. So I like to lead forward a little bit just to kind of tell you what's coming and how all these events lead into each other. Everything ends at the end of the seals, the end of the trumpets and the vials, the wrath of God. But all of this stuff works together, and Satan certainly has plans to counter. So even though this is a woe, this is definitely a major warning from God. People are going to listen to Satan instead. Well, it's a sad thing. So before we get into the sixth trumpet, we'll say goodbye for today, and we will come back on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's pray real quick, and we'll say goodbye. Thank you, Lord, for telling us everything that's going to happen. We're so grateful. Thank you for allowing me to serve, Lord, for putting me in this position where I can help other people, to show them what you've shown me, Lord, to help them to understand at least as well as I do, to not be afraid, but to be secure in your promises, Lord, because you are the mighty God. You are merciful and just and true, and you will fulfill your promises. We know that. We thank you, Lord. Praise the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Jay.
Yeah, Jay, thanks for being here, chat.
Yeah. Jay's our lone viewer.
Our one chatter today. But,
well, he's not our lone
and I'm
viewer.
sorry, I kind of read you wrong there for a second there. I was like, wait, I don't think he means that. But
I thought he was joking, saying, I'm going to believe it's aliens too.
Yeah, but he was saying it's going to be faked.
Yeah, I understand that.
So.
Anyway, so my sister is working. She gets off in about a half an hour. And then Jody, they're usually regulars. She's just now arriving at her destination. She's traveling.
So we don't have our usual people with us today.
Yeah. Right? And Tim, I don't know what happened to Tim. I hope he's okay. And if he watches later, we miss you, Tim. Yeah. I hope you're okay.
And, there's a lot of people that watch later that we know, David. And I don't want to start naming names because then I'm going to forget somebody. No. So
there are a few
we know
people who
know you're watching, and we love you all, and love you, brother Jay.
Yeah, we love you, Jay.
And literally, everybody, the people that we don't even know that you're out there watching, we're here for you because we love you, and that's the only reason we're here. Because I love God, and I love you, and I want you to be in heaven with us. I want you to go into eternity with the brand spanking new, squeaky clean universe to play in. Can you imagine? An entire new universe is our playground forever. Yeah. It's just going to be so awesome. Yep. And I want you to be there with us. It's going to be fun. So thanks for being here, everybody.
I'm gonna be running on the beach.
Yeah.
A brand new beach. Anyway, so would you kindly smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this revelation study with everybody. Make sure you tell everybody that who will listen that we have this going on. There is a banner running at the bottom of your screen, and it is not there because it's a pretty blue color. There is actually information on there on where to contact us.
It's not an ad.
It's not an
our
ad.
stuff.
It's where to get in touch with us. If you have a prayer request, send a prayer request.
Yeah. My email is there, X account, or any one of our channels. You can leave a comment. Please do.
You can leave any thoughts in the comment section below in the in X, YouTube, and Rumble.
Yeah.
And then turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any great, fabulous videos. And they're going up all the time. Go to Rumble. Follow us on Rumble.
Yeah.
I don't have an X account.
YouTube's eventually going to ban me because I talk about stuff they don't like too much.
They don't. And maybe even X, because you kind of talk against Elon a little bit.
I'm not really glamorizing Elon when I talk about him. So
yeah.
I like what he's doing, but in a worldly sense.
Yeah.
Right. He's got his own agenda. You know, he's not everything he appears to be. He's definitely got an agenda.
Okay, that's another show.
And that is another show. Yeah.
But I also was going to say that my likes and followers have upticked in Ungodly Woman, Godly
On
Wife.
Facebook,
And so if you are a woman, please go over there on Facebook and like my page. Check out. I usually post something every day. So anyway. So we're getting out, and I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your week. And we'll see you on Sunday.
Yeah. Love you all.
For part what, 7?
Part 7 on
Part
Sunday.
7.
We'll go into the 6th trumpet.
So catch you then, and we're out.
Love you all.
Love you all.